Hello, Deb Air here, and just wanted to talk a little bit about the component of Gap Magic that has to do with care itself. There are many different components. One of the things that I learned and have and continue to learn, I should say, is that whether we call it application of care, how do we bring somebody through care, when do we use SRI, when do we use an network entrainment, how do we figure out what to do, when is someone complete on the table, how do I compare what their clinical data is saying to where they are in care, how often do I see people. I'll tell you, my job isn't to tell you all that specifically, but it is. Gap Magic is here to hold the container for you to be able to figure that out for you. And there are many different ways in which we can have this conversation. So, will we be discussing how you do SRI, how you do network entrainments, how you apply things at the table, what kinds of conversations, you have? Absolutely. That's why Gap Magic exists, is to explore and deepen and enhance where you already are to where you're really desiring. And sometimes we desire something, we don't really know what we're desiring, but we know something is missing. And so Gap Magic is really about filling in that space for you and allowing you to discover that for yourself, and to have a very supportive team and souls around you that allow you to find that within yourself. So, you never have to leave the conversation. You get to, how do we bring somebody through care? How do we use clinical findings and not have to leave the reorganizational healing conversation? How do we relate what intelligences this person, may have, very fueled, and how does that look in who they are and the patterns of who they are? What does that look like in the clinical findings? How can we share that with them so that it's so personal to them that they're on board? It makes sense. No one's ever really spoken to them in this way. No one's ever really seen them in this way. But it's not just about being present and having deep conversation. It's also about linking that there's this very specific work that we do that actually brings in the goods of the conversation, that carries through the conversation into an embodied shift of consciousness, and that it continues. And as we know, as network practitioners, and as the studies have already shown, there's no ceiling, baby. There's no ceiling. So we're here at Gap Magic to really be able to support what are those ways in which you use this work under the guise of network care, of seasons of care, however you use it in your office. How do you utilize the seasons of integrate with your SRI, with your entrainments, with whatever it is that you do? This is an all-inclusive invitation. And what I mean by all-inclusive is you get to bring all your parts. The parts that feel like you know what you're doing, the parts that are not always sure, the parts that don't even know what you're looking for, but you know that there's something there for you. So really looking forward to being with those that are called to this, that feel like it is a match for them, to really be able to take the conversation of the consciousness and breathe it into the clinical aspects of this work, so that you can own it, you can honestly be proud of it, that you're already making an impact, but that you can look at a thermal scan and an EMG scan and a posture, or if you use X-ray, and you know that this all makes sense. You know that the changes that are happening are truly a multi-dimensional orchestra-like shifting. Truly, I believe in people's DNA expression and being able to become a more whole and more vibrant, consciously embodied human being. Isn't that what we're all here for?